As the PXG match is now over, I want to go ahead and overanalyze Chapter 294 and Isagi's significance of being BLUELOCK's #1 with Rin. We get to see Isagi run the floor with everyone, living out his dream of becoming the best striker in the world and work towards that. And I want to specifically go back to this moment of why what Rin said was so important in BLUELOCK now. You see, at this point, Isagi now has the power of hope and despair in his hands, and Rin even says that he is BLUELOCK's Demon King. Now, I think this is very important, and we're going to go ahead and analyze this, so let's talk about it. So if you remember, the key basis of the PXG match that Isagi was able to figure out was that he needed to kill his feelings. I feel like this has been a key basis since the first match in the NEO, where Isagi realizes that he can't really have that admiration for Noah and people above him anymore. He needs to be able to see himself as an equal, that way he can figure out how to find himself and figure things out. During the PXG match as well, he also figures out that he needs to sell his soul for victory. For this, he had to kill all his feelings for KiiNGKhyy, his despair for Rin, his admiration for Noah, everything had to drop. He had to reset to 0, back to when he wanted to just win. And I love this configuration and how everything tied all together, eventually leading to his game-winning goal. Killing his feelings specifically was an important message, considering that KiiNGKhyy was unable to do this at the end. You see, KiiNGKhyy did not get the game-winning goal because his feelings towards Ness ended up being the same. He ended up dropping Ness, and because of his relationship with Ness, he realized that Ness probably wouldn't pass the ball in the way that he wanted to, because Isagi had no feelings towards Ness. He only seen him as just another capable player. And this was ended up being the demise of KiiNGKhyy and the best part of Isagi. Because of this, Isagi ended up becoming the king and KiiNGKhyy became the clown. We'll now probably see this further on as Isagi is able to kill his old feelings. Everything that worked towards in his favor, putting hope and despair from people, really worked out. And honestly, people say a lot about Rin and his destroyer ego, but now Isagi might have something else that's even worse. We also learned throughout the match that Isagi needed to be the fastest. He had to adapt to the fastest way and find the fastest thing. Now, I wasn't really sure what exactly they were trying to find out and figure out what could be the fastest way, considering that everyone was moving so fast. However, we find out that the fastest thing he was trying to do was to figure out who would be the first one to bring about a new type of spark to the team, and that ended up being Ness, and Isagi was the fastest one to adapt to that situation. And this is very important considering Isagi calls himself the king of adaptability, and he realized he needed to adapt really fast to be able to be the best in the world, and this came from this. Now, honestly, every game is different, and every situation is different as well too. So when it comes to these type of games, Isagi being the fastest to adapt really is kind of his own little motive that he has going on. I'm sure we'll see this over and over again because that's really one of his best superpowers that he has, being one of the best at adaptability and being able to adapt really fast when he does figure something out. We've seen him do this plenty of times in the first and second selection, the third selection, and all the NAL games where he adapted to something and found out stuff faster than others. However, at times we've seen where his body couldn't keep up or he just wasn't able to fully pictureize that vision and work with it. I also want to make a big emphasis on Isagi's weapons compared to Rin's. And we all know that Rin's destroyer ego allows him to take someone's talent and use it against them, destroying them. However, Isagi's kind of works in the same way, but it's quite different. Instead, Isagi has the power to boost up someone's powers. He has the charisma to draw out other egos, allowing people to reach their peak spot. And then he also is able to exploit them for his own goals. This, in my opinion, makes him a lot more dangerous than Rin. Because Rin's able to take talents, but he's not able to bring up people to their highest talent like Isagi can. And then Isagi's able to also take it like Rin can, making him even more dangerous because of the skill. You know, we've always known Isagi be able to raise and impact the people around him, but he's also able to take it whenever he wants, giving him the power of hope and despair all at once. This, in turn, makes him the new Demon King of BLUELOCK. And I love the new figure that they've given Isagi, considering he was a hero in BLUELOCK, and now he's turned into the Demon King. And now I want to explain why the word Demon King is so important. You see, up until this point, Isagi's been known as BLUELOCK's hero. He's really been that knight in shining armor that comes through, helps out, and looks out for everybody. But now in the NEL, we've seen about the importance of hunger and originality. And we've seen where this has taken players that have gone off in BLUELOCK and where they've evolved and come into. And now we see a brand new Isagi once again, who's able to really bring out this full version of himself that's able to draw out people's egos and exploit them. The biggest testament of this really is Rin and KiiNGKhyy. During this game, he was able to bring out a new version of Rin that we had never seen before, and able to bring out a new version of KiiNGKhyy that we never seen before, and still be able to exploit both of them for his own sake and score the game-winning goal. This is unlike anything we've seen before. You know, Isagi used to be that light that people would try to take, like Baro when he tried to take his light, but now Isagi really has light and darkness on his side. He can do both. He can draw out egos and also take it, making him a force of light and dark. And that's why it's so important now to understand why he's called the Demon King, because of this significance that he brings to the table. And now being tied with Rin as #1, I wasn't really sure how I felt about that, honestly, considering they were both tied. But it also wouldn't make sense for Isagi to just full on pass Rin, considering Rin was up by like 30 million in front of him. So Asagi only scoring 2 goals shouldn't have caught him up too much, but making them tied does make sense going into it, as the world wants to see them continue to clash and go further along. When I think of Demon King, I think of someone who is powerful, a ruler, and kind of like an antagonist. So from this, to see Isagi really turn into that hero in light shiny armor, to then kind of like the antagonist of the own story, really made a dark turn and switch. And honestly, I'm here for it. Asagi being that nice and calm kid we see at the beginning of the series to now turning into everyone's enemy and villain who they want to catch up to and defeat really makes it nice. It's able to see that Asagi has grown, and also this ego is turning him more into what people like and what Blue Lock knows that Asagi needs to be, and then also who people who are also on their way up hate. We've seen egos now be exposed. We've seen what the egos of Noah and Loki have done, and what the best strikers in the world have. Honestly, their type of philosophies and the way they work, it makes people not like them. But also, they know that with their abilities and what they have, they prove it all on the field. And that's all that really matters. When it comes to being an egotist, it's someone who's self-centered and really cares for themselves. And we've seen Asagi do this now. Even though he cut his feelings, he always kept the main goal. And that was to score the game-winning goal and become Blue Lock's #1. Now, considering he is tied with Rin still knows deep down Asagi is #1 once again. He's become the Demon King, the one who instills hope in others, but also takes it away whenever he wants. That kind of person who is dangerous. And I'm excited to see in the future and in the World Cup what's going to go on. Now, at the time I'm recording this, I still don't know when the next leaks will come out. Hopefully they come out, I think, on Monday, March 31st. But we need to see what's going on with Nagi in that match, so that way I can give more of a good terms of how the NEL as a whole is turning away. And then we'll finally be done with all the games and we can see what's going on. But definitely going to be back making some more Blue Lock videos for you guys coming back. Just took a quick little break. Go ahead and reset Steam and get back for this next upcoming arc. I'm so excited for everything to get going, as we still have a whole lot to do in the World Cup. And I'm excited to see how it goes and what's going to happen. What type of new characters are going to get introduced. What type of characters might be coming back or returning. Who's going to make it in the top 23. And just little plot points and things that are going on, because honestly the NEL, this was like the last 2 to 3 years that we've been seeing this arc, and now it's finally over soon enough and we'll be able to get over to the World Cup, and this should be honestly one of the best arcs we'll see going forward. I'm not really sure when Blue Lock wants to end, but I would assume, I don't know, maybe within like the 400 chapters range, but we'll see. Obviously can't go on forever, but I'm excited to see how these last 100 or so chapters go on, and we can get things going for the World Cup and see exactly what Asagi plans to do. So I thank you guys for watching the video. I'll be on the lookout soon too for another video the next week. I'll be doing a long video of a retrospective of the whole NEO arc in whole, reviewing everything and giving my own thoughts on it. So look out for that as well. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back in the next one. Peace.